Hello there, everybody, and welcome to the entertainment headquarters. And it's now time for another My Top 10. Now, my top 10 could be anything. It could be my top 10 favorite Tom Hanks films, my top 10 favorite animation shows, anything, all thing, anything to do within entertainment. And because we are in the middle of the festive season, I decided to do this my top 10 dedicated to my top 10 festive films that I love to watch every Christmas, every holiday season. These are like my favorite go-to movies. Some of them are very Christmassy, some of them are not. Some of them are out there a bit, but it's what I like. And they're not in any order. There's no whatever's at 10 is the least favourite of the bunch. They're just my top 10 films that I generally watch over the Christmas period. So let's get cracking and let's get to my top 10 festive films. So at number 10 is a brand new Christmas film that only came out last year, but I thoroughly enjoyed it. Last year, I had hardly seen any films in the cinema, the same as this year. I've hardly left the doors because there's been nothing that's really grabbed me attention. I've seen John Wick 4 in the theatres. I seen Guardians of the Galaxy 3 in the theatres. I went to see 65 with a friend of mine. I thought was better than I expected it to be. So there were a few films that I did see this year, but last year, at the end of last year, I had the pleasure of just walking in blind to this particular film. And this particular film left me with a lot of laughter, left me, happy. What you want to be feeling at the Christmas period. And so, yes, it wasn't a disappointment. So at 10 is Violent Night. Yes, Violent Night for me was everything I could possibly want from a Christmas film slash action comedy film. Um, yeah, I love this. It's basically the plot is you've got a cynical Santa Claus who's played by David Harper, and there's a family called, I think it's what was the name of the family? They're called the Lightstones. I was going to say a lighthouse there, but it's not. It's the Lightstones, and the Lightstones every year gather at the matriarch of the family's mansion. They're obviously a very wealthy family, and they gather, and then suddenly mercenaries invade the compound, the mansion where they're staying, just as Santa's arriving to deliver some presents. And as you can imagine, all hell breaks loose. And Santa Claus himself goes on a bit of a journey. Members of the family go on a bit of a journey. But throughout, it's full of action, it's full of comedy, full of Christmas cheer all round. And also in this film, you have David Harbour, like I've mentioned. You have John Leguizamo, Alex Hassel, Alexis Lauder, and Beverly D'Angelo, who I really enjoy. She's been in a few decent films that's popped up throughout the years. Obviously, this is going to be another classic, in my opinion. But since I have mentioned it, and this is my top 10, let's have a little look at Violent Night, because that's another thing I like to do. I like to not just talk about these films, but I also like to showcase them. So here is the trailer for Violent Night.
You ain't driving, are you?
I steer a little, but the ranger do most of the work.
This is my fourth year as a Santa. How about you? I started the whole damn thing.
Ho, ho, ho! It's Christmas!
We decided that you could have one gift.
Early.
What is it?
That is a direct hotline to Santa Claus himself.
I can talk to Santa.
All right, revelers. Welcome to your worst Christmas ever.
Let's go!
You have $300 million in your personal vault. That's what I want for Christmas.
I don't want any trouble, okay? Something's gonna scooch up that chimney.
Who is he? Because it's not your typical mall Santa.
Santa, are you there? Daddy said you were very busy tonight. My name's Trudy Lightstone. Are you gonna help us, Santa?
Yeah, Trudy.
Santa?
You're on my nice list. Santa Claus is coming to town. Time for some season's beatings.
Who the hell are you?
Boss, what if he really is the real?
No such thing as Santa.
These bad men, they're all on my naughty list. Naughty.
That's naughty!
And what do you do to the naughty ones?
I give them a lump of coal.
Where is it?
I gotta watch.
I believe in you, Santa.
Come on. Which one of you did that? Prancer? So unprofessional.
So, yes, there we go. Violent Night at number 10. So, where do we go now? So, now we're going to a classic film. It's something that has been around for years and years and years. And the reason this is in my top 10 is because it's something that I really, really enjoyed as a child. I have some amazing memories with my dad of every Christmas Eve. The lights would go off, the fire would be on, and we would sit there and we would watch this film together. And it's a tradition that we would watch this every Christmas Eve with a cup of tea or a cup of hot chocolate. And it is, of course, a film based on the Charles Dickens classic, A Christmas Carol. But it is the 1951 classic film, the classic A Christmas Carol, starring Alistair Sims, I believe. So this one. So Alistair Sim plays Ebenezer Scrooge in this. It is a classic. I absolutely adore this film. And like I say, for me, it's more for sentimental value than anything else. But yes, I've thoroughly enjoyed this film because of what it brings. And that's why the 1951 Scrooge Christmas Carol by Charles Dickens, based on Charles Dickens, starring Alistair Sims, is number 9.
I can't pay you, sir.
I'm not surprised.
Not unless you give me more time.
Did I ask you for more time to lend you the money?
Oh, no, sir.
Then why should you ask me for more time to pay it back?
Hard and sharp as flint he was. You ask Bob Cratchit about him. This timid and intimidated little clerk is portrayed by Mervyn John. Mrs. Cratchit by Hermione Baddeley. The little lame boy, the great-hearted Tiny Tim, is played by Glyn Dearman. Michael Hordern gives a spirited portrayal of Jacob Marley, the ghost who changes Scrooge from sinner to saint. Co-starring with Alistair Sim in delightful character roles are Jack Warner and Kathleen Harrison.
Don't be violent, Mr. Scrooge, sir. You forced me to scream for the beadle.
The beadle, madam? A thief for the beadle.
A guinea? Here, what for?
Absurd to be so happy.
So yes, at number 9, Alistair Sims's version of A Christmas Carol, aka Scrooge. You know, the story that he made, Charles Dickens, it's been done 1,000 times by amazing actors in the role. And they've done musical versions, you know, I remember Muppets Christmas Carol. I remember going to the cinemas with my mother to see that one as a child. So, you know, I could have picked any of them, any version of this to be on the list. But this one is the one that stands out the most for me. Moving on from 9 to 8 is another action / horror / comedy. And this is a film that I thoroughly enjoyed as well. It's directed by the director of Trick and Treat, which of course was done by Michael Dougherty, who also created Godzilla King of the Monsters, and of course it is the one and only Krampus. That's right, Krampus is, for me, Krampus is 100% a holiday classic now. Just like Trick or Treat, I watch that every year at Halloween. I watch this every year at Christmas. And so, yes, Krampus is number 8. And I love the story about this, about, you know, this family who are dysfunctional in a lot of ways. They have a lot of issues. You know, you have the overbearing brother, you have the loving grandmother, and you have all the cousins that pick on, you know, cause problems with the main child of the family who's like leading the way. And then at the same time as you have like the family dynamics, you also have basically the horror elements thrown in with, you know, the different creatures and elves, and the overall tone of the film can have some very dark tones. But Krampus, if no one has seen this, I do recommend Krampus. It's one of those films that I think, like I said, Trick or Treat, it's going to be a standout. And it stars Toni Collette. Now, Toni Collette has done a number of horror movies in her time. You know, she played the mother in The Sixth Sense. She also was in Hereditary last year or the year before, which was a very good horror movie. I do recommend that as well. But Krampus is number 8 on my top 10.
It's the most wonderful time of the year, with the kids jingle belling.
Merry Christmas! Looks like Martha Stewart threw up in here.
This is delicious, honey.
It's a little dry.
Well, mine's delicious.
Mine's dry.
Do you want to trade?
It's
Christmas. It's Christmas. It's Christmas.
with
those holiday greetings and gifts.
How we were going to survive Christmas with 12 people stuck in a house with no heat and no electricity.
Or food.
There's plenty of leftovers, Howard.
Beer it is.
It's the weirdest thing. There's no cars, no people.
How long can this keep up? We heard something on the roof.
The hell's this?
Saint Nicholas is not coming this year. Instead, a much darker, ancient spirit.
Those are hooves. Elk or a goat?
What kind of goat walks on its hind legs?
His name is Krampus. He and his helpers did not come to give, but to take.
Everybody, hold on to each other.
He is the shadow of Saint Nicholas.
It's Christmas. Nothing bad's gonna happen on Christmas.
So there we go. That is Krampus, and I love Krampus. I just think it's such a unique film that mixes horror and comedy and other elements that I enjoy from film. And I like the fact that we have now got a film featuring, there's thousands of Santa Claus movies. There's thousands of, whether good or evil Santa Claus movies. You had that one that starred the wrestler Goldberg. He did a Santa serial killer film a few years ago. And like you see, with the likes of Violent Night, you're getting a lot of action comedy Santa films, and you have The Fat Man as well with Mel Gibson. I do recommend that one as well, but I prefer Violent Night. But anyway, this is a classic, and it's nice to see another folklore character be given the Hollywood treatment, and like I say, that film is going to be a classic. So yeah. So moving on is a animated movie that I have a lot of time for. It's a film that came in 1982, and it is basically quintessential pop culture, British pop culture icon here. It's so popular here. I know it's been shown all over the world, but yeah, particularly in British, because it is being written by, the film and its story is based off Raymond Briggs, the famous children's author here in England. It's based on his much beloved book, and just like the book is much loved, so is this animated film, and of course it is The Snowman. Yes, The Snowman came out in 1982. It's something that I adore. It's shown every Christmas on Christmas Eve. If you look at the artwork there, even on the poster, it looks like it's just come straight from the pages of the book and straight onto the screens. And, it was meant to be a one and done. It's a simple story about a young boy who, decides to build a snowman that mysteriously, magically comes to life, and they go on an adventure to the North Pole and back. And if you were a young child when it came out in 1982, by the film's end you were in floods of tears because of the ending. and of course, the original book, its author Raymond Biggs, he then decided to do some of the, he did the intro when it first was released. He then did the intro, then after him, when it was re-released, David Bowie, who loved the book, loved the film, absolutely adored it. He also did an intro to the re-release of the film. And then 30 plus years later, given their approval by Raymond Biggs, using the same kind of animation, they did a sequel, which is called The Snowman and the Snow Dog. And just like The Snowman, this has become super popular. And like I say, like Paddington Bear, The Snowman is part of British pop culture, British history. It's much loved. And I was looking for a decent trailer for The Snowman, and so the quality of the trailer that I have found isn't the best, but here we go. If you haven't seen it, I do recommend The Snowman.
Enjoy the original masterpiece, The Snowman.
Yeah, The Snowman, as you can see, and the music alone, that, the choir singing as he flies throughout the world, that was an amazing scene. And it is, as soon as you hear that, you just get them chills, you get the Christmas feels. And like I say, 30 years later, we were blessed with the sequel. So there you go, The Snowman, and obviously then you've got The Snowman and the Snow Dog, just as good as each other. So we're down to 7. So we're now heading to number 6. Now number 6 is a film I absolutely adore. It gives me the lovey-doveys. It's an amazing comedy. It's a classic. For me, it's one of the greatest comedies of all time. And it is, of course, at number 6, Trains, Planes and Automobiles. Or Planes, Trains and Automobiles. Starring the legendary icon John Candy and Steve Martin. Now, I just absolutely adore this film, and I just think it is one of John Candy's best roles. It really is. What more can you say about this film? John Candy is, he's an unlovable character, and Steve Martin is not so lovable in this. And he's trying to get his way home to Christmas, and they kind of tag along with each other and chaos ensues, and there's a lot of fun comedy moments as they're trying to make their way home for Christmas. But I absolutely love this film. I really, really do. It, like I say, I really do miss John Candy. I wish he was still around. It would be funny to see what you would be doing these days as a comedy actor or even a serious actor. But I've always admired John Candy. I've always admired this particular film, and just like, there's a lot of holiday classics out there, but this is the one for me that has always stood out. And it is simply because of John Candy and Steve Martin's amazing performances together and the chemistry that they had during this film. In a lot of the scenes, they just lit up the screen. So I highly recommend this film as well. Planes, Trains and Automobiles.
First you delay me, then you bump me. I can't wait to see what happens next. I'm going home for Thanksgiving. I can help get you home. Taxi! I've got a family waiting for me. Here we go. I have diners, pizza, and a gasoline card. Have mercy. I've been wearing the same underwear since Tuesday. I can vouch for that.
So Trains, Planes and Automobiles is number 6. And like I say, it's a classic. It's a holiday classic, it's a comedy classic, and it stars the late, great John Candy. Now we're going to move on to another Santa Claus film. And just like The Snowman has become a huge classic in the UK and is loved all over the world, so is Santa Claus the movie. Santa Claus the movie, that is another childhood film that I absolutely adore, and it's recently been re-released on 4K, so it is a potential purchase for me coming up. But the story of Santa Claus, it tells how he was first discovered, how he becomes Santa Claus, and then it also shows you him basically trying to function and accept how the world's changed as time goes by, and he meets an orphan boy who he wants to befriend. You have the elf who doesn't feel, that he is being taken serious. He doesn't feel as if, any of his ideas, he's wanting to progress, move on with the times as well, but he also wants to deliver the Christmas cheer, and he leaves, he goes, and then he becomes tangled with this horrendous toy maker. He's a scammer, he's a scoundrel, he's a villain, played by the fantastic John Lithgow, from, of course, he's done a lot of roles. He did Harry and the Hendersons. He did he starred one of his best roles was when he was in the television series Dexter, is the serial killer, and I think the best season of that show, which was the Trinity Killer, is who he played. If you've never seen that show, I recommend Dexter as well, and I recommend season 4 for me is the best. But John Lithgow is an amazing actor, and forgot who played Santa Claus in Santa Claus the movie. But it was, let's have a look. I'm having a look. It was David Huddleston. Now, this is the only film I know of him in, is Santa Claus the movie. And if that's his legacy of starring one of the, most famous, popular children's Christmas films, then it's a good legacy to have. But I'm sure everyone's seen this, but if you haven't, here is the trailer. And this is number 5 in my top 10 Santa Claus the movie.
A prophecy has come to pass that there would come to us a skilled maker of toys. This is your legacy.
This is a curious kind of place.
Oh, this is nothing. You'll see.
Green's just not his color. Now that's perfect.
We will bring our gifts to all the children in all the world.
Santa doesn't like my toys.
We've never had returns.
I need to make him appreciate me. Let me use your toy factory to make something special.
With these toys by December, Santa Claus will be finished. Our friends are in trouble. They're counting on us.
Wow!
Got to fly like the wind. Santa, they're waiting. Don't I hear something first?
Yep, a classic. It's on every Christmas. It's just like the Snowman, like I say, just like Alistair Sim's Scrooge, the A Christmas Carol. It's one of those films that stuck with me throughout my life and throughout my childhood and adulthood, and it's something I always get a lot of enjoyment out of, even if it just brings back those memories. Now, speaking of memories, the next film on this list is a film that is a Christmas film. It is, but it's also an action film. And obviously, we're down to, is it number 4 we're down to? Yes, number 4 on my top 10 list. Now, this film is created by Tim Burton. This film stars one of my favourite actors, and it's one of my favourite hero movies, and it is, of course, this movie, Batman Returns. That's right, Batman Returns. So people might think, well, it's a superhero movie, it's based around Christmas time, but is it a Christmas movie? You have the same debate with Die Hard. That is an action-packed action movie that is set around the holiday season, around the Christmas season, but is it a Christmas movie? A lot of people say yes and a lot of people say no, and this is the same for me. But I absolutely love this movie and I watch it every year around Christmas time, and in fact it's being shown in the theatres over the Christmas months, so I might actually go and see it at the Tyneside Theatre, my local independent theatre, because I love this. It stars Michael Keaton as the best Batman out there. It has Danny DeVito as the Penguin, Michelle Pfeiffer as the quintessential sexiest Catwoman out there, and it also has playing Max Shrek. He's Christopher Walken. His name escaped me mind about there, but I absolutely adore this movie. I love the performances, I love the action, and I love the acting. And the Penguin, for its time, he was scary, and he really, really did deliver. And of course, it's done by Tim Burton, and I honestly believe he did a fantastic job at this. I wish he did do more Batman movies after this, but for whatever reason, he left the Batman franchise on a high, I believe, with bringing us Batman Returns. So here is number 4, I believe, in my top 10, Batman Returns.
I've been down here too long. It's time for me to ascend.
From the sewers of Gotham, a new villain emerges.
You didn't invite me, so I crashed.
From the rooftops of Gotham, the perfect enemy comes to life.
I am Catwoman. Hear me roar. Yeah.
And the only one who can save this city is a creature of the night.
Hey, Stud. I thought we had something together.
We do. While she craves a romance she can sink her claws into,
You're catnip to a girl like me.
he plots a foul reign of destruction.
My dear penguins, thanks to Batman, the time has come to punish all of Gotham!
You missed. Above Gotham looms its greatest hero.
There we go. And I've been chuckling myself. Chuckling, looking at that. Just for the fact it's brought up so many memories of, like I say, my childhood and young adulthood. And I always remember in the 90s how most of the trailers had a voiceover person that would talk throughout the trailers and introduce them, and it just brings back so many memories from the early 90s by watching that. But Batman Returns, not only is it a Christmas film, a action holiday film, it's also one of the best superhero films out there. The cast were brilliant, the outfits for its time was brilliant, and Tim Burton, like I say, did an amazing job at making Batman who he was. And I think even though Batman was a popular character, I believe because of this particular version of Batman, his version, the original, I think it was 1989, was the Batman with Jack Nicholson in as the Joker. He really made Batman even more popular than he was, in my opinion. And then, of course, he's done it again with Batman Returns. But he, he's done great. And this is not the only film that he's done based around Christmas, which leads me to number 3 on the list, which, of course, is another classic by Tim Burton. We know he is the master of gothicness. He's got his own unique style. He's got his own unique way of filmmaking, and this film is another animated classic, which is on my list, and of course it is Tim Burton's Nightmare Before Christmas. Now, Tim Burton's Nightmare Before Christmas, I think this really did defy a generation for kids, in my opinion, because you had a handful of studios that were doing kind of the stop motion animated shows and films, and you had Wallace and Gromit, which is obviously just like the Snowman, is another British classic show, and that was all done through claymation and stop footage films, and it had never been done on a scale the way that Tim Burton did it. And it took years and years for them to make this film. But once it was made and it was released, I think there was a lot of skepticalness around it. But what Tim Burton did, he managed to make a film that, just like a lot of one and done cult classics, this has defined time. It is much loved today as it was back in the day, and the cast of this were outstanding. What Danny Elfman did, I believe, with the music, who also worked on the soundtrack of The Batman Returns and a lot of Tim Burton stuff, he was fantastic. And, he also voiced Jack Skeleton in this, and he also, I think, was Kathleen O'Hara, who is in Beetlejuice, plays the mother in Home Alone. She did the voice of Sally, and she surprised the hell out of me because she can actually sing, and she sings beautifully in this. So it's a cult classic. It's one of my all-time favourites. I could watch this time after time every year. So it is Tim Burton's A Nightmare Before Christmas.
Welcome to an extraordinary world filled with magic and wonder. Open your mind and let yourself go to a place where every day is Halloween and every night Jack Skellington
I am the Pumpkin King!
dreams of something different.
What is this? It's someplace new.
Jack, look out!
What's this? What's this? There's color everywhere. What's this? There's white things in the air. What's this? I can't believe my eyes. I must be dreaming. Wake up, Jack, the system star.
What is this?
Haven't you heard of peace on earth and goodwill toward men?
Touchstone Pictures presents the enchanting story of two very special dreamers and the holiday spirit that brought them together. From the imagination of Tim Burton comes The Nightmare Before Christmas.
And what did Santa bring you, honey?
Yeah, so another classic, another holiday classic. On my list I've got a mixture of, what you would probably expect and hopefully a few surprises. So that, I believe, I were up to number 3, was that? So, yes. So, now we're up to number 2. Now, number 2 is another holiday classic. It's out every year. Everybody adores this film. Well, the majority of people adore it. They don't necessarily like the lead actor in this because he's got a very, he's got a reputation of being, quite frankly, a prick, a dickhead, whatever you want to call him. He's got, a reputation. And this is probably one of his classic films that he will forever be known for, whether you like it or not. And everyone adores this family. And it is, of course, it is the film that I think has become like I said before, some people love it, some people hate it. It is a holiday classic and it's an all-round favourite of mine. And it is, of course, National Lampoon's Christmas Vacation. Now, National Lampoon's Christmas Vacation, of course, stars Chevy Chase, Beverly D'Angelo, who was also in Violet Night, and I know those two other actors who play the other members of the Griswold families. I think it Jennifer Lewis, and it escapes me the name, but I know the one who plays the youngest Griswold, he stars in The Big Bang Theory. But we know the story. Clark Griswold, he wants to make memories and he wants to make Christmas special when he was a kid and have everyone there and make new memories, make a new, Christmas for a new generation of Griswolds at the same time of having his parents there, his wife's parents there, and it's just a classic. It's just a classic. And of course, we have Uncle Eddie. Now, Uncle Eddie, for me, he's just absolutely balls to the wall crazy, and for me, he's the best part of this film. He really, really is. And every year, because how much I love this film, and how much me brother loves this film, a few years ago brought out a handful of the Funko Pops. And for the last 2 Christmases, me beloved brother has bought me the National Lampoon Christmases Funko Pops. And because we are heading into Christmas, I've recently just got this back out the cupboard and I'm going to put it on display. So that is Clark, and it is, the classic Christmas poster, the National Lampoon's Christmas poster on the back. And this one is the next one he got me, which is Clark Griswold on when he goes down the hill, and he basically goes like 1,000 miles an hour and goes across the road, and he's got this is an actual limited edition, a special edition one. So National Lampoon's Christmas Vacation does have a very special part of my heart. Like the majority of the films on my list, but everybody should know this, and here is a little bit of National Lampoon's Christmas Vacation.
'Tis the season to be jolly, fa la 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 la.
After vacationing across America and throughout Europe,
Take it, Russ.
this holiday season, the Griswolds are going to play it safe.
Clark, we're stuck under a truck.
Oops. They're staying at home.
I give you the Griswold family Christmas tree.
Hope you're not getting sap all over your sweater, Clark.
All Clark wants is a quiet, old-fashioned Christmas.
Sorry. Got a little knot here. You can work on that.
What he's going to get is the gift that keeps on living.
Merry Christmas.
His family.
We didn't come to impose.
Oh, hell, there's plenty of room.
Do you sleep with your brother? Do you know how sick and twisted that is, Mom? Well, I'm sleeping with your father.
Have you got a kiss for me?
You better take a rain check on that, Art. He's got lip fungus they ain't identified yet.
But no holiday could ever be more deeply touching.
We were gonna call, but Eddie wanted to make it a surprise.
If I woke up tomorrow with my head sewn to the carpet, I wouldn't be more surprised than I am right now.
We're really gonna fly down the hill with this stuff.
So genuinely moving.
Can I refill your eggnog for you? Drive you out to the middle of nowhere? Leave you for dead?
More truly uplifting.
Can I show you something?
I was just browsing.
Or more down to earth.
Merry Christmas!
If Santa is smart, he'll stay well clear of this joint. It's a death trap.
Than Christmas with the Griswolds.
Everybody come out quick, look at the lights!
They want you to say grace.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America.
This year, let Chevy Chase light up your holidays. National Lampoon's Christmas Vacation.
That thing had 9 lives. She just spent them all.
You woo, crack up.
So yes, number 2, of course, National Lampoon's Christmas Vacation. Number 1, I really, you know, like I say, these aren't in order of my favourite to least favourite. I'm just talking about the 10 films that I watched the most over Christmas. And as you've seen, there's a lot of classics in there. A modern, you know, what I think is going to be a cult classic, and Violent Night. And I really struggled on what I wanted to be in my top 10 for these 2 particular films, because I absolutely adore this. I really do. I've mentioned it already. It's Die Hard. Die Hard, you know, is a classic. It really is. It deserves to be in the top 10. But at the same time, I also adore this film, Home Alone. So to pick one of the 2 was very hard. So to pick, you know, I really struggled to pick which one I wanted to be in the top 10. So in the end, I have chosen to go with Home Alone. And the reason I've chosen to go with Home Alone is for the fact is I love John Hughes. He, for me, is the king of comedy. He was a master in the 80s, you know. He made so many amazing films, and I don't think there's been a film director like him that has been on his level, and who has made Christmas, not just Christmas film, but general, you know, comedy films, you know, not just comedy films, but he made, you know, films about, you know, teenage upbringing, life in general, and he always knew what he was doing in terms of how to get the feels out of you, how to make, his timing was perfect with the comedy, the serious, and like I say, John Candy, one of my favourite comedy actors, starred in Planes, Trains and Automobiles with Steve Martin. Kathleen O'Hara, who was in Tim Burton's Nightmare Before Christmas, of course, plays the mother in Home Alone. Macaulay Culkin, of course, plays Kevin McAllister. Joe Pesci, you know, he plays one of the, you know, the villains, one of the criminals, and it's just an all-round great film. It mixes everything that you want. It mixes comedy, it mixes the lovey-dovey feels, it mixes the action, and it's just over-the-top good fun, and that's why I love this film. So Home Alone is number 1 on my top 10.
Where are you going? We're gonna miss the plane!
When the McAllister family left on their Christmas vacation,
Did we miss the plane? No, you just made it. Yeah!
they forgot one small thing.
Have yourself
I have a terrible feeling. Did you lock up?
Yeah.
yourself be light.
Do we set the timers on the lights?
Mm-hmm. What else could we be forgetting?
Our troubles will be ours.
Kevin!
Home Alone.
Police in the northern suburbs are on the lookout for a pair of burglars who are calling themselves the Wet Bandits.
We know that you're in there.
It's Santa Claus and his elf.
Get off my property.
This is my house. I have to defend it.
Where's your mother?
My mom's in the car.
Where's your father?
He's at work.
What about your brothers and sisters?
I'm an only child.
Where do you live?
Can't tell you that.
Why not?
Because you're a stranger.
He's a kid. I mean, what can a kid do to us?
Kids are stupid. I know I was.
You still are, Mark.
This is it.
I don't care if I have to get out on your runway and hitchhike. I am going to get home to my son.
Yes! Where are you, you little creep? I'm gonna kill that kid!
Why'd you take your shoes off?
Why are you dressed like a chicken?
Gus Polinski, polka king of the Midwest. If you have to get to Chicago, we'll gladly drive you.
Hey, guys.
Yesterday, he was just a kid. But tonight, he's a home security system.
You guys give up, or you're thirsty for more?
From John Hughes.
You know, I got a feeling this is going to be your best Christmas ever.
A family comedy without the family. Home Alone.
Are you here all alone?
I'm 8 years old. You think I'd be here alone? I don't think so.
So there we have it, my top 10 festive films that I enjoy every Christmas. And you know, there's a million more that I could have added to the list, but these are ones that really have sentimental value to me. They are also films that I never get bored of watching. And like I say, John Hughes, who directed Planes, Trains and Automobiles, directed Home Alone, had John Candy in this, as well as Kathleen O'Hara and obviously Macaulay Culkin. It made him, you know, it made him a star. And Joe Pesci, of course, also an amazing actor and great comedy. And I don't think there's anything else like it. And I don't think any film that comes out now like this will top Home Alone. It's, you know, set the bar. The same with Bruce Willis in Die Hard, set the bar for festive action movies. Like if you look at Violent Night, there is a lot of influences in that from Home Alone and Die Hard. So it mixes the two together and it does it really well. But that's my top 10 festive films. I would like to know what your top 10 festive films are. Maybe there's films that you have on your personal lists that I haven't heard of. Maybe there's things that, you know, films that I love, but I just never mentioned because I forgot all about it. It just didn't come into my mind when putting this list together. But like I say, none of these are my favourites from, say, 1 to 10 or 10 to 1. There's no, like, you know, I don't like any more than the other. I just generally, these are my top 10 that I watch every festive season, every Christmas. And I'm looking forward to Christmas this year. I hope everyone gets what they want off Santa Claus. If not, don't be an asshole. It's about family. Or the Krampus will come and chew your arse off. Anyway, keep loving your movies. Keep loving your television. Love all things entertainment. Because life's too short and it's the holiday season. Let's just enjoy the festive seasons together. And like I say, let me know what your top 10 is. Until then, I'll see you at the next one.